Hi guys, welcome back. And thanks to those who have subscribed and commented on my other videos. I wanted to talk about this new information that's come out about Samantha Markle's case and the fact that Harry and Meghan can't get out of potentially having to testify under oath. And basically, all the assertions they've made, they're going to have to stand by them under oath and be questioned on it. So it'll be interesting to see how it all works out. So I want to go through an article about the whole situation and then react to a video of Lady C discussing the matter on Dan Wootton. That's all very well going on Oprah to push a certain narrative and embellishing your story and basically making up stuff. It's all very well doing that on Oprah, doing the same thing on Netflix with no repercussions, no accountability. Again, all in the name of entertainment, all in the name of sensationalism because, Netflix has to get their money's worth. So yeah, you do that on Netflix, you do that on Oprah, but are you going to be able to do that in court? It's not going to be like in the UK court where, contrary to what they claim, they were protected under the umbrella of the royal family. They absolutely were protected, and it wouldn't surprise me if Justice Warby was actually calling in a favour and just making it go away for the royal family when he made his judgment, because to many of us, his judgment made no sense. So let's get into this article. Harry and Meghan could be questioned in Samantha Markle defamation case. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, titles they need to give up, could be questioned as part of a US defamation case brought by Meghan's half-sister. Samantha Markle is suing Meghan for defamation and injurious falsehoods, including claims in an Oprah Winfrey TV interview of being an only child. She's seeking $75,000 in damages in a case lodged in March 2022. Now, people were wondering why the amount's so little, but she made it clear from day one that it's not about the money, because of course people are going to accuse her of trying to make a quick buck off of her princess sister. But no, it's not about the money, clearly. And, this court case, who knows how much it's going to be costing? You're taking a UK, Duchess and Prince to court. That can't be cheap, but, people are rooting for Samantha, people are behind her. She hasn't asked for any donations or anything like that. This is something that she's taken upon herself. And, we wish her the best. So on Tuesday, a judge rejected a bid to stop Meghan and her husband, Prince Harry, from having to give evidence in a legal deposition. And the ruling by Judge Charlene Edwards Honeywell in a district court in Florida means if the case goes further ahead, Meghan and Prince Harry could have to face such questioning. But the judge added that a preliminary peek suggested some of the claims may be ripe for dismissal. Court papers in the civil case show that Samantha alleges Meghan exposed her to humiliation, shame and hatred on the worldwide scale, misrepresented their relationship when they were growing up, given the impression they were virtual strangers, and she had no relationship whatsoever with her sister. The nerve of her to say that she didn't know who this woman was, and on Netflix, on Oprah and on Netflix. But then to turn around and be best friends with Samantha's daughter makes no sense. She contradicts herself all the time. How is it you're friends so close to Samantha's daughter, but you barely knew who she was? And then claiming she grew up as an only child, when no, you had two half-siblings. And then the fact that she can actually rewrite history, claiming that she was basically raised by a single black mother in a black neighborhood. The things that she comes up with just to appeal to certain demographics, shall we say, and just to change a certain narrative and to basically make herself look like a victim, when really you grew up middle class and your dad was doing pretty well for himself, working in Hollywood, and you went to private schools all across the board, private schooling. Did Doria pay for those private schools? So all of this can be documented. All of this is documented. I'm sure Samantha has a lot of evidence to prove that Meghan is a liar. And this is somebody who had to admit to lying in the UK court. In the UK High Court, she had to admit to lying, as well as omit Scooby-Doo, falsely and maliciously stating she was an only child when interviewed with Prince Harry by Oprah Winfrey in 2021. pursued a false rags to riches narrative, claiming childhood hardship, which destroyed her half-sister and father's reputation and credibility. I mean, she wrote a letter to Congress full of lies. The audacity to actually write a letter documenting your childhood, making it all about you, by the way. And you could verify whether it was true or not. And again, she wasn't called out on it. She wasn't held accountable for it. You can write a letter to Congress and rewrite history. You have no shame in lying to a member of Congress, various members of Congress, a public open letter, saying that she worked when she was like 13 and apparently it would have been illegal for her to do that. And the yogurt company came forward and said that that wasn't the case. Just ridiculous. So let's see if she can make those same lies in court. So the claims are accompanied by 38 requests for admission, which seek to put statements and questions to Meghan. This includes the statement, "Your sister Samantha Markle has driven you to school on a regular basis at a certain period of your life." And according to court documents, the response from Meghan's legal team is that this is a vague and ambiguous request and not relevant to any party's claims or defence. And this is the problem with her legal team. They're so arrogant, as arrogant as she is. They're a reflection of who she is. They were so dismissive when this court case was first announced. Almost just laughed it off and looked down on Samantha as if to say this is ridiculous. But the thing is, any of us can go and literally just Google things and know that she's lying on a lot of the assertions that she made. So why were they so arrogant in thinking that this wouldn't be taken seriously? In response to, "You are not an only child," the reply from Meghan's lawyers is that a statement that she grew up or did not grow up as an only child cannot be defamatory as a matter of law. They argue that a comment about an only child does not distinguish between biological relations on one hand and the manner in which a child was raised on the other. Oh, whatever. Other statements in Samantha's claim inviting a response include Queen Elizabeth was not a racist and King Charles is not a racist, which drew the reply from Meghan's lawyers that this was not relevant to any party's claim or defence. Now, of course, they may have a point in the part about Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles. It doesn't really pertain to Samantha. That doesn't really hurt her in terms of her reputation or anything. So yeah, they may have a point in that, but it doesn't matter. It's basically all the assertions you've made, do it under oath, and let's squash this once and for all, because it's just gone on for so long. And Samantha's court case represents, regular folk basically fighting and sticking up for themselves. And, Meghan liked to imply that her case against the Mail on Sunday was she was doing it for us. She was doing it for, people who have their privacy invaded or whatever. And it's like, no, you weren't doing it for the regular folk. But this case with Samantha represents, doing it for regular people. Because clearly Harry and Meghan think it's one rule for them and another for everyone else. They don't care about other people's privacy. They don't care about other people's safety. Or clearly, with the comments that he made about the Taliban and comments they've made that have implied that the Queen and the royal family are racist. Yeah, they're now backtracked on that, how convenient. But their comments over the years, their narrative that they've been pushing over the years, has put the royal family under scrutiny and in harm's way. We know about the crazy person that got onto palace grounds with a crossbow. And, this is because they're race baiting. They're race baiters. They're stirring up people's emotions, hijacking people's trauma with the whole everything that happened with BLM. They hijacked it for their own gain. And there's consequences to that. They've not destroyed, but they've hurt race relations in the UK and across the Commonwealth. And they were determined to do that because they couldn't be king and queen of the Commonwealth. Now the Commonwealth is racist and colonialistic or whatever.
And after a bombshell ruling by a US judge, the Duchess of Sussex has lost her legal battle to avoid giving evidence in a defamation case brought by her sister, Samantha Markle. Samantha wants $75,000 in damages over what she says were false and malicious lies told by the Sussexes in that infamous Oprah Winfrey interview in March 2021, as well as the hagiography Finding Freedom by that really odd little bloke, you know who I mean, Omid Scobie. If the case makes it to court, then both Meghan and Harry will be forced to be grilled in depositions under oath. Now, it may well be very difficult for them, Lady Colin Campbell. You know a lot about this case, don't you? You have the inside running on this. So what is your verdict?
Well, I wouldn't say I have total inside running, but I do have some because I've been assisting Samantha, because various very well-placed people have been in touch with me because they're intent on making sure that justice prevails and that the truth will see the light of day. And they have had their lawyers, and I'm speaking about people at the absolute top level of society, internationally.
Ooh, very interesting. So Samantha has a lot of people backing her, including notable people who have a lot of power, it sounds like. So that's good to hear because, again, this is a case of, representing the regular person. That's who Samantha represents, because the fact that her sister didn't care about her safety or her well-being, and she doesn't have the means and the resources that the royal family have access to, obviously, and that Meghan and Harry have access to. And it's just, in my opinion, it's just a case of bullying.
Who have been calling in legal brains from all over the world, and they have been giving me information which I have been feeding to Samantha, because the reality is that Meghan and, to a lesser extent, Harry need to be put in a position where they will be forced to speak the truth.
We know they have no problem lying in court, though, lying to the court. But I think in this situation, in the US, in Florida, they're not going to be, a justice will be, they're not going to go easy on her. They take perjury very seriously. So yeah, come up with, what you want to say and stand by it under oath.
Or face the consequences. Because if they are deposed and they tell lies, they can be charged with perjury and might even end up in prison. I think it's a very remote possibility, but it is a possibility nevertheless, and they and their lawyers will be aware of it. Because the reality is that they have told so many lies, and this case is in no danger of being struck out. Judge, I forget her name, Edwards Honeywell. She says that, some of the claims might be struck out, but in reality, the substance of the claim is sufficiently sound that Harry and Meghan have to give depositions under oath, being televised, being taped. I mean, we have the prospect of Meghan going the Amber Heard route.
That wouldn't surprise me. And this is the thing, even if it ends up getting thrown out, the fact that they still have to answer questions means that whatever happens, they will be exposed. And that kind of happened with the Mail on Sunday case. Even though many people were disappointed at the outcome and didn't really understand the outcome, why that was allowed, even though it was proven that she lied in court and everything. The fact is they were exposed. The whole lies about them not being involved in Finding Freedom, both she and Scobie were exposed for their lies, and Harry too. And then the way she meddles behind the scenes to discredit her sister, and this is what was the thing that triggered this case, saying that she's, was it like 3 kids with 3 different men or something like that? Sending emails back and forth to completely dismiss her family, her own flesh and blood. And this is obvious from day one. She never wanted the royal family to have any relationship with her family whatsoever. She never wanted them interacting, with each other. And being at the wedding and, having some sort of, extended family. She didn't want that, even though she likes to pretend that she did. She was perfectly happy to throw her family under the bus and make them look like, the worst people imaginable, just so she had a reason for them not to interact with Harry's family. And she's perfectly happy to destroy Harry's relationship with his family too.
And that's not a very pretty sight.
And Phil Dampier, I think the key point that Lady C makes there is that for a long time, in many sort of establishment circles, this case was dismissed. They love to dismiss Samantha Markle, don't they? Because she isn't on their side of politics. But actually, she's proven over numerous years, and I am happy to say this, that she is a woman of impeccable character. I believe she has always told the truth. And all of a sudden, Phil, this is looking pretty serious for Harry and Meghan now, because as Lady C says, this case may not be struck off.
Yeah, good evening, Dan. I'll tell you what, if there's two people I wouldn't want to be up against who've got together, it's Lady C and Samantha Markle. I mean, what a
so true.
What a combination. I mean, honestly, I would not like to meet them in court. But no, Harry and Meghan are great at starting the legal actions, aren't they? So it's going to be fascinating to see what they're like when they're on the receiving end. I mean, to be honest, $75,000 isn't that much, so I wouldn't be surprised if Harry and Meghan try and settle this out of court, is what I would do.
Yeah, I think that's, if it really does start to look in Samantha's favour, I think they will end up settling, because they don't want to be bothered with it. I mean, she tried to delay things with the UK case using her moon bump as an excuse, and but clearly it's not working here in the US. She's not going to be able to get out of doing what she needs to do to present evidence. So I think they will, more than likely, it may end up being a settlement just so that they won't be exposed and it won't come out. But I hope Samantha, follows it through and goes all the way. It's not about the money anyway.
But I think, Lady C's right. Samantha Markle's got the bit between her teeth, and she wants to call her own father as one of the witnesses. She wants them to admit that she wants Harry and Meghan to admit that the Queen wasn't a racist and that King Charles isn't a racist. So it could be an incredible court case. And of course, a really good lawyer could make them really kick them around in court and put them on the spot. It could be very, very nasty for them if it goes ahead.
Of course, and it is important that you do mention Thomas Markle, because before he had his really unfortunate stroke, which at the moment has robbed him of his ability to speak, he appeared on this show and said he would absolutely appear in court to back Samantha Markle.
And Thomas Markle, he wants to have his day in court so that he can tell his side. I mean, he's been painted as somebody like an absentee father when it was the opposite. It was the mother who disappeared for 10 years, according to Tom Bauer in his book. He's been portrayed as a deadbeat, money hungry. I'm not saying he's perfect, and he made some mistakes, but come on. The guy friggin' did a pap walk. Meghan does a pap walk every week. What was the big deal? Is that a reason to cut him out of your life forever? And, there's a lot of evidence that she set the whole thing up, because she did a photo shoot with the same photographer who took Thomas Markle's photos. Like when they moved to California. So you're buddy-buddy with that photographer. A lot of evidence that she set the whole thing up. And I hope that comes out in court too. But again, it's not really about Thomas or the royal family in terms of them being defamed. It's about whether it's connected to defaming Samantha. So I don't know if that would come up. But Thomas Markle wants his day in court, I'm sure. Unfortunately, though, with his speech being impaired and, if he's had a stroke, we don't want too much pressure on him. He's very elderly. He's still recovering, but I'm sure he would be up for it. So I'm going to stop it there because the video is getting really long. But so I'm really hoping that, because the Americans, they don't play with the courts here. So let's see how it works out for them in Florida as well. Nah, they're not gonna. You can't do the same thing. You don't have the royal family being under that umbrella here in the US. No one cares about your titles that you're holding on to for dear life from the racist institution. No one cares about you lording it over people with your titles here. They mean nothing. You're going to be treated like any other regular person, and you better tell the truth. So Let me know what you think. Thanks for those new subscribers and those who have been commenting on my videos. Thanks for watching and take care of yourselves.